Hey everybody, welcome back to the Foundations of Algebra course. Today's lesson is about subtracting algebraic expressions. We've been saying for a while now, and you guys know this by heart, I'm sure, algebra is the study of the operations on the real numbers. And we have two operations, addition and multiplication. Well, just like before, we define subtraction and division, the other operations, in terms of these two. That's why we can say there are only two. So subtraction is really going to be tied to addition. And let's take a look at that today. Subtraction is really addition of the opposite. So, for example, if you had 5 minus 8, we remember that subtracting 8 is the same as adding 8's opposite. Who's the opposite of 8? Negative 8. So subtracting 8 is the same as adding negative 8. So that we can do. N's and P's, negative 3. How about negative 2 minus 3? Well, again, subtracting 3 is the same as adding 3's opposite, namely negative 3. And negative 2 plus negative 3, N's and N's, I got 5 negatives, negative 5. If you have 1 minus negative 6, so if you're subtracting negative 6, it's the same as adding negative 6's opposite, namely 6. And look at that. It's the same as 1 plus 6, which is just 7. And lastly, negative 7 minus negative 4. Subtracting negative 4 is the same as adding negative 4's opposite, namely 4. And negative 7 plus 4, N's and P's. Look at that. Negative 3 again. There we go. So let's put this to work with algebraic expressions. And before we do, I want to highlight what really helped us when we were talking about addition. The main principle of addition. It didn't just help us, it governed everything that we did. So the only things that you can ever add are the same things, and when you add same things, you get the same things. Well, because subtraction is really addition of the opposite, it just transfers over, and we'll consider it the main principle of subtraction too. The only things you can subtract are the same things, and when you subtract the same things, you get the same things. So here's some examples. Let's subtract, if possible, and if not, we'll just write NP for not possible, just like in our last lesson, 5xy minus 8xy. So first things first. Can we subtract xy's and xy's? Yes, they are the same things. And when you subtract xy's and xy's, you better get xy's. You get the same things back. How many? Well, that's the easy part for us. Just come off to the side, and we see that we have 5 minus 8 of them. Just looking at the terms there. Well, I know how to do that subtraction. I'm going to add the opposite. So subtracting 8 is the same as adding its opposite, negative 8. And 5 plus negative 8 is negative 3. Man, so many negative 3's going on here today. Let's throw that in place, and we're done. Okay? See how this is mirroring what we talked about in addition? It's beautiful. How about this? Can we subtract x to the fourths minus x to the fourths? You bet. We can subtract them because they're the same things. And when we subtract x to the fourths from x to the fourths, we get x to the fourths. How many? You know the deal. Just go off to the side and do the subtraction. All right, 3/4 minus 1/3. Can't do that because they're not the same things yet. So get a CD. Let's use twelfths. So this will be 9/12 minus 4/12. Just multiplying by the appropriate form of 1 again. And 9/12 minus 4/12 is 5/12. We got this. We got this. 5/12 x to the fourth. Very nice. How about x to the seventh minus x squared? Can we subtract x to the seventh minus x squared? I heard you. Nice. We cannot. We cannot add them. No. Those are not the same things. They got to be exactly the same things before we subtract them. So all we'll say is NP. Not possible. All right. How about negative square root of x minus 7 square root of x. Can we subtract square root of x and square root of x? They're the same things, you bet. And when you subtract square root of x's from square root of x's, you get square root of x's. And now we can concentrate on how many. So we got negative 1 minus 7. All right. We talked about that. If there's no number there, we take that to be a 1. So it's negative 1. It works the same with negative 1. So negative 1 minus 7. I'm going to rewrite that as negative 1. So subtracting 7 is the same as adding 7's opposite. So negative 7. Ah, look at that. Negative 1 plus negative 7. We're getting negative 8. Let's throw it in place and call it a day. Beautiful. How about this one? 5xyz minus 5xy. So, first things first. Can we subtract xyz's and xy's? No. Good. Good. They're similar, but they've got to be the same things before we can subtract them. Right. It might be tempting to think, well, I got 5xyz, so I'm taking away 5. Okay, I can cross out the 5, cross out the x, cross out the y, and I don't know, get z or something. But you got to remember that main principle of subtraction. The only things that we can ever subtract are the same things. These are not the same things, so NP. All right, how about this? Negative 6w minus negative 2w. The things are w's. Can we subtract w's and w's? Yes. And when we do, we get w's. How many? Well, just come off to the side. Negative 6 minus negative 2. Well, we know that subtracting negative 2 is the same as adding negative 2's opposite, 2. So negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Throw it in place, and we got that one too. We're flying here, guys. Beautiful work. All right, let's throw these all together in sort of bigger expressions, and we'll do the same thing we did in our previous lesson with addition. We're going to simplify completely by adding and subtracting wherever possible. So let's say we got this. Let's do the thing that we did with addition in our last lesson. Let's just go through and see what are the same things, if we can, and put them together. So let's start with negative 3xy's. You see any other xy's in there? I do. Yeah, right there. So we have negative 3xy minus xy. So we know that that's going to be some amount of xy's, right? How many? Well, let me come all the way over here. I'm gonna put it down in this little corner. We have negative 3 minus 1, right? So that's the same as negative 3 plus 1's opposite, negative 1. And that's just negative 4, isn't it? So that's how many we've got there. Negative 4xy. Let's see if we have any other w squareds. That's the thing in that term. Any other w squareds? Yeah, right over here. So we've got 4w squared minus 9w squareds. Well, let's go ahead. We know that that's going to give us w squared, right? If you subtract the same things, you get the same things. So how many? Well, 4 minus 9, that's the same as 4 plus, we're going to, instead of subtracting 9, we're going to add 9's opposite, negative 9, and we get negative 5. So, negative 5w squared. And the last term is 8w, okay? There's nothing else to add that to, so we'll just leave it as is. Here, I'll write it down just so he doesn't feel left out. All right? So, what does this equal when all is said and done? Let me circle off our scrap work there. What we get is, evidently, negative 4xy minus 5w squared plus 8w. That is our final quantity. All right? Here, I'm going to give you one more just to try. You can pause the video. Why don't you do that? Pause it, and then when we come back, we'll check our work together. If you just want to keep going through it and you want to see the work done, I'll be here in just 1 second. Okay, so let's do the same thing we were doing before. We've got some x squareds here. Any other x squareds you guys see? Looking down there, yeah, all the way at the end, x squared, beautiful. So we have negative 9x squared plus 7x squared. All right, we're just doing addition there, no big deal. So let's see, x squareds and x squareds, add them together, you get x squareds, and negative 9 plus 7, that's just negative 2, just addition going on there. Nice. How about x's? Any x's there? Any other x's? Nope. All right, so we'll just keep negative 2x by itself. And how about x cubes? Yeah, there's another one right there. Some more x cubes. So we've got negative x cubed minus x cubed. Well, can you subtract x cubes and x cubes? Of course, that's why they're together. They're the same things, and we're going to get x cubes, right? And here, maybe we need a little bit of scrap work. Negative 1 minus 1. Well, that's the same as, so subtracting 1 is the same as adding 1's opposite. So negative 1 and negative 1 plus negative 1 is negative 2. There we go. Whoa, look how cool this ended up. We're going to get, so let me partition off our work here. We're going to get negative 2x squared minus 2x minus 2x cubed. It's a negative 2-a-thon. Look at that. Very, very cool. All right. Whew. We did a lot here today. But again, I just want to point out, see how beautiful it was, the way we talked about the operations just on numbers and how it just keeps on going with algebra, algebraic expressions. This is pretty sweet. Okay, I hope you feel that continuity between those things. Excellent job today. When we get back tomorrow, we'll go ahead and look at our next operation, multiplication. I'll see you then.